Elizabeth Shanahan Jewett, and this is Local Matters. I hope this week has been good to you. Let's talk about what's happening in our area. Project Arts of Plymouth is a nonprofit whose stated purpose is to encourage and promote all forms of musical and artistic expression. This team of 8 volunteers works hard all year to put together a program for people of all ages to enjoy. And they are thrilled to announce that the Project Arts Free Summer Series is back. Beginning on June 30th, Pilgrim Memorial State Park at 79 Water Street will come alive with music from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. On the June 30th lineup is the popular American reggae group The Elevators, whose members hail from Marshfield and are beginning their national summer tour right here on the Plymouth waterfront. On July 7th, don't miss 2-time New England Music Award winner Monk Dwayne with Souljacker and the Boston Catalino Band. And the beat goes on every Wednesday throughout the summer until September 1st. Volunteers and sponsors make Project Arts possible. All funds raised are used for putting on these free shows. If you'd like to offer financial support or have time and would like to help out at one event or many, please email John at johnemt76@yahoo.com or visit the Project Arts website to learn more. Mya Royal is a traditionally trained fine artist and fashion designer, currently working from her large waterfront design studio right here in Plymouth, Mass. Julie spoke with Mya about her art, her background, and her vision.
Mya Royal, the owner of a downtown shop in Plymouth by your same name. It's so great to have you here. Before we jump into everything about you, I found it interesting that you grew up in the South Shore and you went to Silver Lake High School, and your very first foray into fashion design actually came there. Can you talk about that particular event and then where you went from there?
Sure. Thanks for having me. In high school, I made all my own clothing. I started self-taught, and we did have home ec classes, so I got some instruction there as well. But I had a great time doing it, and I used to make things that were unusual. I really wanted to express myself, so some people loved them and some people hated them. I had big supporters, and then I also had people who gave me funny looks at best. So it was really kind of interesting to see just how fashion can speak for you, how much of a statement you can make. And I ended up doing independent studies in high school, and I had my first show when I was like 18 years old.
And then from there, you went to UMass and talk about that and talk about what else you did in order to continue on with your path of artistry.
Sure. At UMass, I continued to make clothing, but I focused in printmaking, which is like this really wonderful technique. It's very painterly, but you can make multiples. And I did a great deal of work, and I started selling my work at a very early age. And by the time I graduated, the university purchased a lot of artwork from me as a public installation in their atrium. And so that was a lovely thing. They were very supportive.
That's fascinating, and what a great start. And then you went overseas. Talk about what happened over there.
Well, I went to do my master's program in fashion design, and I had to approach this school in Florence, Italy, kind of carefully because I didn't have a bachelor's already in fashion. But since I had so much training and obvious skill, they let me in. They didn't have a problem with that at all, and I was able to complete the master's program in Florence, Italy. I have the dual citizenship and I speak Italian, so it made it a different scenario. It was very easy for me to integrate, and I was able to open up my own shop in Florence as soon as I finished the master's program.
That's great. What brought you back here to Plymouth?
Well, I was going to give birth to twins, and I didn't want to raise my kids overseas. I wanted to raise them here. And so I came back here and I gave birth and became a mom of twins.
Wonderful. And what made you decide to open your shop down by the waterfront?
Well, Plymouth has always been a very special place for me. Obviously, there's a lot of history here, and that's something that has always been very attractive to me. Places with stories, places with history, places by the sea. I love the ocean, and it's comfortable because it feels like home.
Right. Now, after looking at your website and your Facebook page, I came up with the question: who is or what is Mya Royal? Like, how would you describe yourself and what you do now?
Yeah, I think everything that I do is really informed by this love for life. I grew up in a small town. I grew up on the South Shore of Massachusetts in this quaint and kind of idyllic location. But then I went out and I traveled a lot because I've always had this burning curiosity. And that's really what informs my work. I want to know more. I want to know more people. I want to do more things and see more places. And I want to stay current. And that's all of what kind of informs what I do.
And how did the pandemic affect you personally and your business?
It was very challenging because I had only opened the shop just a few months before the pandemic started. And so I assumed it was the end. I was very wrong, thankfully. The first thing that happened was people started showing up at the door looking for masks, and it was a very dramatic scene at the time. People were scared, and so what happened was that this massive mask making production ensued, and it was kind of by donation. They were going for free for a few dollars. It didn't really matter. The point was to get masks on people's faces. And then some of those people who bought masks came back later to place orders for custom clothing, which was very nice. The business eventually kind of came around. I have had to do quite a bit of pivoting, but it's fine.
That's wonderful. Good for you. Now you take part in Plymouth's First Fridays. Can you talk about that? What happens if somebody walks into your shop during one of those events?
Sure, it's an open house. So this is what we call in Italian un laboratorio. It's a workshop. So it's an atelier and it's very active. There's stuff going on. It's kind of messy sometimes, but that's fine. I kind of clean up, put out some wine, and I'm very, very casual about it. I'm just interested in meeting people and showing people what I do. So on First Fridays, when people come to visit, they come with different interests. Some people are artists themselves. Some people like to sew. Other people are actually looking for something to take home with them that evening. And so it kind of just depends on the visitor, but we usually have a nice chat.
Oh, that's great. And what about interns? Do you actually have interns that come work with you?
Yes, I've had an internship program for about 10 years. And I started that in Italy, in the smaller shop in Italy. And then here, the internship program has grown quite a bit. So I have 5 interns right now. They're all local people and they range in age from about 19 years old to 35. Some of them are students and some of them are not, but they all have a kind of a passion for creativity. They're multi-talented people and they all like to sew.
Oh, that's great. So you're going to
Yeah.
continue on, obviously, with your sewing. What can we expect to see from Mya Royal in the future?
Well, we'll offer some capsule collections that are produced on site, which will be very high fashion, really, and artisanal. And we will also offer ready to wear, active wear that is more in alignment with what you're accustomed to seeing in shops, what you're already accustomed to buying, and home goods. And then in addition, we're working on a few exciting things. There are some luxury items that we're going to produce, like a little line of fine jewelry. I'm getting help from a local jeweler to do that, and a line of luxury outerwear. And I'm working with a manufacturer, like an artisanal manufacturer down in New York, to make that. So there's quite a bit. There's
Wow, so
quite
it's
a
a
bit
very
coming.
eclectic
Yeah,
group of
it is.
things,
It
yeah,
is. It'll
that
be
you
a
have in your
nice,
do.
comprehensive
Yeah,
product offering.
wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck
Thank
with
you.
you and your shop and everything that goes on in downtown Plymouth, because you're all part of that wonderful creative environment, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Julie. To find out more, visit Mya's website at myaroyal.com. Tap dancing is a great workout, toning your core and major muscle groups, and can be way more fun than a jog around the block. The Pembroke Council on Aging, together with instructor Jan Harold, invite you to a new class beginning on July 1st from 10 to 11 a.m. Jan has been teaching dance since 1965. opening her own studio in Weymouth in 1972. After retiring in 2011, she missed the teaching, the choreography, but mostly the people. Which is why Jan Harold has been happily teaching through senior centers since 2016. If you ever took tap class as a child or wish you had, call 781-294-8220 to sign up. Summer and sidewalk chalk go together like the Pembroke Public Library and you. Bring your imagination and creativity to the library on Wednesday, June 30th between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Help the library decorate its sidewalk with vibrant chalk art. This is open to and fun for all ages and skill levels. Chalk and painter's tape provided. Now we turn our thoughts to animal adventures. Wild animals are coming to the front lawn of the Plymouth Public Library. On Saturday, July 10th from 1 to 2 p.m., meet several exotic animals you'll be able to pet and learn about from Animal Adventures expert zookeepers. This exotic animal rescue, founded in 1997 by Ed and Brenda Laquadera, supports its mission to give a home to unwanted and unable to be cared for animals while educating the public about these amazing creatures. This summer library program is free, but registration is required. Visit the Plymouth Public Library website to register. And if exotic animals aren't your thing, the Kingston Public Library has another option, a drum circle. Feel the groove of community as you join arts educator Cornell Coley in an outdoor drum circle in the tent on the Summer Street lawn. Cornell Coley's drum circles stand out as accessible, culturally rich, spiritual, upbeat, funky, and social. An in-demand arts educator who was born in Kingston, Jamaica, he holds a BA from Tufts University, a Master's of Education from Cambridge College, studied cultural anthropology at UCLA, and lived in Ghana, West Africa, for 1 year studying dance. He has also traveled to Cuba and Brazil to conduct research in the cultural arts. There will be hand drums and small percussion instruments for up to 30 people. But if you have your own percussion or hand drums, you are encouraged to bring them. And you're also welcome to just come and watch. This free Saturday, July 10th program is for all ages and runs from 1 to 2 p.m. Visit the Kingston Public Library website to register. Living near the ocean has proven health benefits and comes with a responsibility to our seashore. Erica heads to the beach with a father-daughter cleanup team on this episode of Your Green Space.
The damage human debris has on our coastlines can be devastating. And multiple studies have shown that beach cleanups raise public awareness more effectively than public education programs that do not involve participation. Volunteers say the cleanups make them more mindful in how they manage their own disposables. On this episode of Your Green Space, we walk along the shores with coastal resident Amanda Ewell and her environmental analyst father from Mass DEP, Carlos Fragata, while we talk about the importance of keeping our beaches clean. Let's get started. A beach cleanup is anywhere from a casual to an organized event where you just take a few minutes to pick up some trash from one of your local waterways. I live here in Plymouth, and so there's plenty of beaches where there's trash to be picked up. I personally have little beach cleanups like every week at least. I think it's just a simple act that us as humans who are part of the environment can take to help to minimize the negative impact that we have as a species on our habitats in our environment.
A beach cleanup can be many things. It can be just simply going on the beach and picking up trash, or it can be an organized beach cleanup where you can log the trash that you do find and then have data to back up how dirty the beach actually was, how polluted it was. And pollution would be anything that's not natural to the environment. If you imagine going out to the beach, especially after a storm, you're gonna find a lot of trash. And then you pick up the trash, you might log it, so that way you know how much you picked up. But tomorrow might be a totally different day. You might not find any trash really coming in, or substantially less trash. So it's good to get more than just one snapshot in time. It's good to keep logging how much trash you're getting to see if there are any trends. After storms, winter versus summer, Those are all important timelines.
No one really wants to be playing with their kids at the park and then find a bunch of trash of various sorts. And so there is obviously the positive impact of having a beautiful nature space to enjoy. The main goal is to keep things that are not found in the ocean out of the ocean. So there is a massive impact on any species that would confuse trash for food or become entangled in the trash or just generally become confused by it. Like a plastic bag looks really similar to a jellyfish. Even a bag of dog poop that looks just like seaweed. Keeping the environment as close to its natural state is the goal.
Of course, beach cleanups will help by keeping the beaches clean so that there's less pollution on the beach. How that helps people? Well, it helps people in many ways that may not be obvious. Plymouth is a tourist town, so ecotourism is the new buzzword. If you have a clean beach, you can promote it, but if it's not very clean, don't go there. For example, Minnesota has the cleanest sidewalks I've ever seen. Massachusetts, not so much. Not trying to put down Massachusetts, but it's really all about empowering each person like myself and you to go out and not dump trash, and if you do have trash, bring it out with you, to clean the beaches, but also log the trash so that you can go to the selectmen and create a bylaw, or so they can have management decisions made based on science.
The trash, it comes from humans, and it comes from just everyday people. I like to imagine that all the trash that I find, it found its way there accidentally, but I'm sure there are some cases where that's not the case. So it can be from individual consumers, or there's also a contribution from the fishing industry. So it's not uncommon to find ropes or traps, and also from industrial sources. So that could be through boats or planes, or any case where a company is using the ocean as a place to deposit their trash.
Also, beach cleanups, by keeping pollution down, besides for humans, keeps the animals from eating the trash or getting tangled up in it. It's foreign to the animals, they're not used to seeing it, so they think it's natural, they think it's going to break down. But trash really only breaks down by biodisintegration. It just gets smaller and smaller until something eats it and then ends up getting in its system.
So it's all about the life cycle and the food chain. So when plastic and other types of trash enter the ocean, they can easily be mistaken for food, or they break down into those small microplastics, which are sometimes even imperceptible to animals, and they are consumed by animals of all sizes.
But think about eating cotton balls. It fills you up, but it doesn't do anything for you. So it really weakens you in the long run, because you could have been eating real good food. You are what you eat, so to speak.
And so what happens is that larger animals eat the smaller animals that have consumed plastic, and then even larger fish eat those smaller fish until you get up to the types of fish that humans eat, like for instance tuna. That fish has eaten the smaller fish, which has eaten the smaller fish, and so on and so forth. As that accumulates, it becomes a large amount of plastic that is inside of the animals that a lot of humans consume for food.
So that's called bioaccumulation. Then when we eat the tuna, we get all of that extra energy that was brought into that one fish from all the many other fish that collected small amounts of the pollution. And now we get it in our systems. And we're not used to it. Too much is harmful to us. So in that sense, it hurts us. So for example, if you feed a duck bread, the duck's going to be full, and now it's going to be a little weaker because it doesn't have the energy that another bird had with seeds or other natural vegetation they could eat. So now the bird gets lazy and stays around, a weaker animal to make a weaker species in the end. So the same with animals. If they're not strong, they get sick, then they die. So any animal that has to fight anything, even fishing, and you hook a fish and bring it in, that tires the fish out, there is a chance that it could die. There's a chance that it gets weaker. So it does harm animals. So plastic can do the same thing. If you eat something that's harmful for you, it might take a long time for it to make an effect and you won't even know it.
It is common for fish to have their entire insides to be filled with trash or plastic when they are dissected after being captured.
I think that any trash affects every aspect of our lives in one way or another. For example, fishermen might get snagged on a shipwreck. No one cleaned it up. We're not required to clean them up for some reason. We have to prioritize it, make it something we want to do. I know that shipwrecks could provide habitat for animals, but the point is, when people fish near a bridge and the fishing line breaks, not all fishermen go grab the fishing line. if they lose a lure, they don't look for it because it's not worth anything, it's disposable. Fishermen have nets that will get hung up on natural features such as rocks and other artifacts, even shipwrecks, and it rips the net and the net stays behind. No one goes after it. I know whales are being affected by fishing line, and we know that there are right whales that are getting impacted by that. Now in terms of the fish, the herring, they may be affected by some of the trash because they're now having to wade through trash in some areas instead of getting the food they need readily available to them.
The ocean is encompassing of the entire globe, so there's really no way to track where trash will start and end. And there are actually these gigantic, like, swirling patches of garbage throughout the ocean. I've never seen one, but I can only imagine, like, it would be so heartbreaking to see. So due to the currents, the trash accumulates in different areas.
The trash can get into the ocean many different ways. It can come from some of the cities with combined sewer overflows, or CSOs, where there's rainfall that comes into the sewer system with sewage that comes in the system. When it floods, it overflows so it doesn't come up in someone's basement. It goes into the ocean. Now once it goes into the ocean, the wind and currents will drive the trash to wherever the tides come in and out. You'll see trash coming up along the high tide line, or the seaweed line, or the rack line, or any other tide line like the spring and neap tides twice a month, or storm tides. So trash will just either drop out because it's heavy and stay on the bottom, or get carried out to sea, or maybe get carried into shore and then land on the beaches, get stuck in the seawalls, or get stuck in the seagrass. Sometimes styrofoam just gets all over the marshes.
Planning a beach cleanup is so easy. So like I mentioned, they can be casual. Like for instance, I simply pick up trash every time that I notice it when I'm outside or at the beach. And there's a second way to have a beach cleanup, which is to organize an event. There is an organizing body called Coast Sweep. They were founded in 1987, and when I was a little kid, I started coming out to the beach cleanups with my dad. And so all you need to do to organize a beach cleanup is to just register, and it's so easy now. They even have an app where you can track the trash. But all you do is register, you spread the word, get your friends if you're involved in any community groups like yoga studios or 4-H clubs or school sports teams, anything like that. You just get a bunch of friends together and you come on a certain date, and there's a process to go through when you come to the beach cleanup day.
One of my old posts is from a beach cleanup in 1992, but I started in 1998, a year after coastal management started doing this. And I just want to show you the difference in the forms. I'm going to kneel down so I can grab things so they don't fly away on me. But these are the new forms. This is a form that you can use tick marks, hash marks. But years ago, the forms were different, and they were more designed in terms of what kind of material: plastic, styrofoam, glass, rubber, metal, paper, wood, and cloth. Why? Because years ago, we thought the trash came from fishing vessels exclusively. Pipe, thread, protector, light sticks when you catch the fish later, sacks, containers that once held oil. You pour the oil in the engine and you throw it overboard. You put it in a bag and then eventually the bag rips open. And styrofoam buoys, pallets. But look, it's changed to grocery bags, paper bags, cups and plates, bottle caps, plastic bottles. What? Plastic bottles? We used to use thermoses when we were kids. And this isn't something that just people that are a lot older do. This is common sense. So this is all about understanding why the data is so important. If we didn't have this data on these data sheets in 1987, we wouldn't have known that in 2021, we need to be looking at fishing buoys and pots and traps versus cigar tips versus cigarette butts. That's so specific. And over time, we've seen that plastic is on the top. And one of the plastic things is the cigarette butts. I see so many people throwing out cigarette butts. Some are still lit. It just blows my mind as to why people would do that. And that's irresponsible because it's out of sight, out of mind. Someone else will pick it up, maybe. But think about it. All these animals that are out here, these birds, they see a cigarette butt and they'll try to eat it. Birds are intelligent, but they're designed to not have man-made materials in front of them, teasing them, fooling them. I've got a poster here which shows all the kinds of trash that you'll find, that I have found. These six-pack rings, sea turtles get stuck in them. Birds, like seagulls, for example, get stuck in them. And maybe they get eaten too by whales. There are all kinds of different plastic items shown here. Balloons are terrible because balloons look like jellyfish as well. And they go flying out and they land somewhere else. The strings, fishing line gets tangled up. As a scuba diver, this is deadly. For fish, the same thing. This will cut through an animal. As the animal grows, it'll cut through the skin like a tree. If you wrap a tree with a wire, it's going to expand and swallow it. But animals will just end up dying. They'll have a lesion that'll get infected. Plastic stirrers. We don't need stirrers. They have stainless steel ones. As a matter of fact, when you drink a drink, you actually taste more of the drink when you don't use a straw. See? Learning something new every day, aren't you?
I am.
Now, we don't need plastic spoons unless you're going to reuse them. But why not just use a spoon like I do? Have a stainless steel one I keep in my lunchbox. Yes, it's kind of a pain to wash it, but eventually it's a habit, and now I don't go anywhere without it.
There's so many benefits to beach cleanups because, first of all, it just feels good to do something that's giving back to your community and your environment. It's also a great opportunity to get together as a group and to be part of a bigger movement and have a positive impact. It can be a social aspect, and so it's just one way to have a positive ripple effect. Someone sees you doing a beach cleanup, they might ask what it's about, and then you spread the word, and then the next time they're at the beach, they might think, okay, I'll pick up a few pieces of trash. So it has a huge impact on your personal worth and being part of a community too.
Keeping our beaches clean, especially in Plymouth with its eco-tourism push. I came to Plymouth because I fell in love with Plymouth underwater. But it's a good enough reason to promote the town's logging of trash through coastal management because the data has been collected since 1987. A lot of times trash is looked at as someone else's problem, but really is our problem. And I really don't want to go out every year and collect trash or every day and collect trash. I think people really need to take ownership of themselves. Parents telling the children, adults telling younger people telling older people that are set in their ways. It's all habits. We all have habits. It's all about changing what we do. And I know for a fact that when I change something I do, sometimes it's bad initially because I don't want to do it. But guess what? In the end, I'm so glad I did it.
If you love going to the beach or you live by the ocean, as I do, then why not take just a couple extra seconds to pick up trash in the places where you're already going and spread the positive impact.
Experts say that by 2050, there may be more plastic than fish in the sea. Others say 90% of our coral reefs may be dead, waves of mass marine extinction unleashed, and our seas left overheated, acidified, and lacking oxygen. 2050 is not far off, but we can still work towards a better future. Beach cleanup projects are a safe way to restore oceans and clear debris from the beaches. They also give experts a chance to educate the public on ocean conservation. So the next time that you find yourself on the beach or on a walk near the water, bring a glove with you and take an extra minute just to look around. By disposing extra debris that would have otherwise found its way into the water, you'll be playing your part in making the difference that our oceans and our world needs. That's your green space for now. I'm Erica. See you next time.
Thanks, Erica. Keith is here with InFocus Snapshot.
Hi, I'm Keith Hughes and welcome to InFocus Snapshot, where we take a look at the stories from the state and our communities that you may have missed. The Kingston Collection opened June 15th as a regional vaccination center. It's tentatively scheduled to be open 4 to 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturdays to offer alternative hours for working individuals and children to get vaccines. The Kingston Board of Health will have the Pfizer vaccination available for adults in ages 12 to 18. Links for scheduling can be found at kingstonmass.org/COVID news. The spring political season is wrapping up this month, with Pembroke's annual town meeting being held on Tuesday, June 22nd at Pembroke High School at 7 p.m. And there's in-person early voting available for the annual town election at the clerk's office during regular business hours until Friday, June 25th. Voters can request a ballot by mail until June 23rd, with the recommendation to make requests within 14 days of the election. Voters that request a ballot by mail can return them in person at the clerk's office, utilize the ballot drop box located outside the back door at Town Hall, or return it by mail. All 4 polling locations will be open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on June 26th. Plymouth Police Chief Michael Botteri worked his last day in uniform on Tuesday, June 1st. A 36-year veteran of the force with 13 years as chief, Botteri says he plans to stay local and work to spread the drug prevention program he helped develop. Captain Dana Flynn, a 24-year veteran of the department and 18-year supervisor, has been appointed acting chief beginning June 2nd. Town manager Melissa Origi has said that she plans to hire a permanent chief from within the department and that the process will take at least 2 months. Summertime is beach time, and if you want to hit the local ones, you'll need your beach stickers starting July 1st. Plymouth residents can get them online only this year by visiting the Citizen Action Center at plymouthma.gov. For Duxbury beach stickers, you can buy them online at town.duxbury.ma.us or by phone at 508-381-5455. Kingston residents can visit kingstonrec.com for Gray's beach stickers. Thanks for watching this edition of InFocus Snapshot. I'm Keith Hughes, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Keith. InFocus Snapshot is growing and changing, and after this episode will have its own time slot. Look for it on our community channel and find out more by visiting pactv.org/infocus. Poet Joan Dugas graduated from Boston College with a degree in English and from Bridgewater College with Masters in English and Education. She taught high school English and later worked in the field of social work. While poetry is her passion, her greatest treasures are her 4 children and 9 grandchildren. This is Joan's original work.
And I will start my reading with a poem that is a favorite of mine. It's called Carnival of Blossoms. Spores garden with my son. A few cumulus clouds elbow a chocolate sky to open its doors after many days of rain. When azaleas are peak, Paul plans our visit, an annual tradition of Mother's Day. Sunlight touches the silver of his hair, brushes the hillside flowers, cherry red, blushed pink, tangerine, some white as milk glass. The flowers cascade in twists and hoops, the opening of carnival. We can almost hear a calliope as the wind whistles through the leaves. Wisteria trunked against a tall maple swings on a trapeze of vines. Paul steadies my arm to guide me over a steep and rocky path, where the pungent scent of wet earth combines with sweet perfume and blossoms sway in a dance. Even on tiptoes we cannot reach the towering tops of nature's perfect art, or catch the magic of the present moment. This brief holiday will last long in memory, when loud winds and winter chill shiver the landscape, and I travel far from this place and from Paul for the winter. The next poem is called Sunday Morning, and it starts with an epitaph from T.S. Eliot. Sunday morning, let us go then, you and I, T.S. Eliot. As the sun begins to part darkness with little magenta ribbons above the sea, air sprays a lick your lips salty mist of night just past, day not yet begun. Come on, Tom, let us go then, you and I. Light from the bright morning star will guide us on our way. So wear the bottoms of your trousers rolled, We will splash in the waves and laugh until we collapse, relaxed, less stuffy, more alive. This next poem is called One Dream Removed. Fighting goes on, whether I watch TV or not, whether I pray or not. A raging river of hatred flows on city streets. If only I could find a place of refuge, an empty cupboard, say, where I could curl up, close the door, concentrate on silence, leave catastrophe outside. Think how calm the night would be, quiet, serene, comforting. In my dream, violence ends. All the bones are buried, knives and guns stashed, monuments restored. Civility becomes the norm. Toxic water has passed under the bridge, and we learn the power of tolerance. Then I open the door of refuge to sunlight and all that clear water flowing on the river.
Thank you so much, Joan, and thank you for staying with us for this episode of Local Matters. From all of us at PAC TV, have a safe and happy week. We will see you next time. Thank you for watching. We are grateful for your attention. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to The Local Scene here and share everywhere.